Hey guys, happy Monday morning, although I did technically wake up after 12 o'clock. It was a rough weekend, thus no video yesterday, but today, I love the smell of banned cards in the morning. Wait, no, I hate everything about banned cards. Why would I want to smell them? I don't even want to see them. Okay, wait a minute, I love the smell of cards being banned in the morning. Some crap got banned. I'm going to make a video on it. There, that's an intro. Welcome to my channel. That's how we do it here. So just a little background. Wizards of the Coast handles every official format's ban list and ban decisions except for Commander. That's handled by some random people who keep getting accused of insider trading for good reason. Oh, and incredibly self-serving ban and unban decisions too. So, 1,000-foot view of why people don't like the Commander Committee. It's because, I'm sure I'm massacring the details on this because I didn't fully follow this and much of the tweets were deleted, but, a while ago, not too long ago, nobody knew that an unban or ban announcement was coming. They just kind of come out and blindside everybody. But a couple days before a card was unbanned by the Commander Committee, somebody went to, I don't know, Troll and Toad, maybe Card Shark, maybe TCG. I don't remember who was all involved, but they bought up like $1,000 to $2,000 worth of the card. It had to have been like the entire inventory. And now, you know, if Wizard says there's going to be a ban or unban announcement, remember they used to schedule them. So people knew when they were. People would real quick go out and buy up, a play set of like every, card on the modern ban list just in case it gets unbanned or whatever. Or just, whatever 5 they think might be unbanned. Or if they run, like a high level competitive like analysis, group of competitive players on Facebook or something, they're like, I wonder if they'll bring this back because it's not much of a problem anymore. And people are like, oh yeah, and then they buy it up. So it could look like they have insider information, but it's really just like informed speculating. But this time they bought that card and only that card, or I think they maybe threw like 4 more cards on there or something. They bought like I don't know, 50 copies of the other one and nothing else. So it's like, okay, pretty darn clear they knew it was coming. So somebody on the Commander Committee either did this themselves or told their friends, hey, we're about to unban this. And I don't know if we ever got a resolution from that. I thought somebody told me that they had a legitimate excuse like, oh yeah, we discussed it on a private group of 100 Commander players, so everybody thought it might happen, but then why did more than one people not do it, and why didn't it leak? So I don't know if I believe that. And nobody, I think, came out to corroborate it, so it all just turned into a mess. I think then they went back to it was just a really good guess or something, or like, come on. So they told their friend, go buy up this card because it's going to triple in price because we're about to unban it, and then they made a couple $1,000s profit. That's what they did, in my opinion. So that's why everybody hates them. But this ban announcement right here does not seem to be insider trading or self-serving. Although, I would love to see if somebody just bought up 100 copies of Worldfire somewhere. Shopkeepers out there, TCG player account holders, let me know. Obviously, I don't want to know who did it. They already kind of worked that out themselves the last time. And everybody went, terms of service, you can't just dox your customers. And then the other 99% of the community was like, burn them at the stake. Take a guess which side I was on. But I just want to know if it happened to see if it's still a problem. But my guess is no, because I think it's like a $1.30 card even right now. So with that established, let's move on to the actually good ban and unban announcement. Well, first of all, Rule 10 has been entirely replaced by Rule 11. So what are those? Well, I would tell you if the Commander website wasn't offline. I assume it's hosted on a potato in the Republic of Potatoia, because every time they do or announce anything, their website just goes offline for days. There are ways around that are free, by the way, but I guess nobody told them that. But luckily, archive.org says that their website says that rule number 10 is commanders are subject to the legend rule. A player cannot control more than one legend with the same name. And basically their explanation was that's already part of the game rule. It just wasn't always. Or it wasn't as like clearly written, or it was written on each individual card or something. I don't know. I didn't play back then. So they're just like, yeah, this is literally already just part of the game in every format. So we're just deleting 10. And then we're making Rule 11 into Rule 10, even though it has nothing to do with it. It's not like they rolled it together. That's the one that says all the stuff that says outside the game doesn't function. Did you hear that, everybody? Parts of abilities which bring other cards you own from outside the game do not function in Commander. Direct quote. If your play group says otherwise, great. Otherwise, no, not allowed. Oh, you want to run the learn mechanic in your Commander deck? Well, maybe you should learn to run something else. So not a lot there, but Worldfire is unbanned and Golos Tireless Pilgrim is banned. Good, Golos had to go. But Worldfire, let's talk about that one because I'm actually kind of excited about this one. So Worldfire is an absolutely insane 9-cost red sorcery from M13 that is the only time it was printed, and it says exile all permanents, not non-land permanents, all permanents, exile all cards from all hands and graveyards. Each player's life total becomes 1, or as I like to call it, drag race. So with this being a sorcery, you can't put it on the stack above another effect. So you can't like, oh, lightning bolt your face, and then also this first. Oh, look, your total becomes 1, and then I hit you because, you know, sorcery speed. You can grant all of your sorceries flash, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So what most people would do, the typical combination with this card would be to cast some kind of suspend damage spell, typically Rift Bolt, because that's literally just like lightning bolt, but with suspend, I don't know, 1 or 2 or whatever it is. So that's where you pay a cheaper cost for the spell, or it could be the only cost for the spell, and then you put it into exile counting down, and then once it counts down the number of turns by removing 1 suspend counter per turn, then it casts itself, it goes off. So people would typically take Rift Bolt and you know, put it into exile counting down, cast this, and then like the next upkeep or whatever, boom, the person gets hit. So that was the combination. Kind of janky because it still costs 9, but there's nothing they can do. I mean, what are they going to do? Counterspell it with no cards in hand or their graveyard and no lands. So you would just win, but if somebody counters either one of them, well, then you're in trouble. So it was kind of a nutty combo. I don't know how realistic it ever was. And a bunch of the like pay 3 mana, get 5 mana out of it cards were banned in red. I'd like to think for this reason, but probably for various reasons. But still, that was like a 4 or 5 card combo anyway, so it was just kind of a fun, silly card, and they banned it in Commander because it was so utterly devastating and kind of stupid, and obviously you're playing red, so you could probably just drop in, you know, top deck a land, and then top deck a 1/1 haster, maybe. I don't know, you're more likely to do that than another player, I guess. But then basically you cast this, and then they take their turn first, so it never was a particularly tactically good card. So people were mostly stuck running the other troll card, Bearer of the Heavens, one of my favorite cards from Journey into Nyx. It's an 8-cost 10/10 giant, and when it dies, destroy all permanents at the beginning of the next end step. So that's a little less crippling. It's a little more fun because it's like, okay, who's going to get going faster? Good luck with that. So, I mean, this is just a fun thing to do. Worldfire can be fun if you're not a dick about it. That's pretty much the way I would put it. If you have a way to win the game after casting Worldfire, other than I hope I pull something, but won't this be fun? Then you're kind of an asshole, and there's probably better combinations in Commander. So, like, why would you go for this and just be like, oh, but I can pull a damaging effect out of my ass, or like, I've got a bunch of 0-drop spells, or, you know, whatever. I don't know, whatever you're planning, like, don't do it. But if you just want to be like, you know what, the board state's a little too complicated, guys, let's do this. We're starting the game over and everybody's at 1. It's called Hardcore Magic, deal with it. That's my jam right there. That's Monkey Wrench playing right there. And everybody loves a good Monkey Wrench in multiplayer Commander. Where you're just like, I don't know what this is going to do, but it's going to be funny. Boom, cast it. This is probably going to hurt me more than you, but YOLO, welcome to Commander. Boom, cast it. So the Commander committee or commission, whoever the hell they are, they said Worldfire was once banned due to the problematic interaction with floating mana and having access to your commander. Oh yeah, that's right. You still have access to your commander in Commander. I forgot about that. There is one that says every other player takes 3 damage, whether it's in the command zone or not. I could see that being problematic. He's actually already banned in Commander Duels, which is competitive 1v1. Yeah, because that's the biggest problem with competitive 1v1 Commander. But anyway, I don't. You can have a commander that costs 1 and just hope you top deck a land. Okay, now it's actually still a dick move, but I can't believe I forgot that there's a commander. Anyway, we want to foster a commander environment where 8 and 9 mana spells are viable and likely to show up in a game. So we evaluate the expensive ones in that context. Unlike Coalition Victory, don't even get me started, and Biorhythm, oh my god, which we continue to believe are problematic. Do you really? In the environment, the level of effort needed to make Worldfire effective is sufficient that we suspect it will not be as much of an issue. Yeah, if you are like, oh, I'm running a Worldfire deck, and then you just run like, what, black, red, and nothing but tutors and some kind of, like, this would be a 2-cost black, red. I don't know, are there red tutors for sorceries? There probably are. Well, and then your opponents still take their next turn first, and then they still have their commanders, and then you have to go for a 1 or 2 cost commander somehow, and then also top deck a land, and then also slap it into play, and then also have it have haste, and then also if it's multiplayer, you can't kill everyone. So I can see how it's not like, oh, I'm just going to win the game, but floating mana, that's an issue. They were correct about that, but not a lot of people play it is what I think they're implying. You can make mana float between turns, but I thought it ends when whatever is doing that leaves play. And a lot of the modern ones, modern as in printed in like the last couple years, they say the mana doesn't leave your mana pool until the end of turn. And that one dragon that was printed lately, as soon as he dies, the effect ends, and then you can launch damage based on the amount of mana in your pool at their face, but he has to die, not get exiled. So if he gets exiled, the effect ends and you lose all your mana, as far as I know. So there are very few ways to pull this off. So you have to like go get Worldfire, go get 9 mana, and then go get something to float some mana, and then you still have to pull like a damaging spell. So yeah, I do agree with them that this funny, stupid, just absolute chaos monkey wrench troll card should still be in the game. And plus, guys, counter spells. Just saying. So they also point out, which I think I mentioned this, there are already cheaper ways of doing similar things in the format. We believe the social contract and robust pregame discussions will keep Worldfire out of games in which it doesn't belong. In other words, if you're a dick, you're not going to have anybody to play against. Welcome to Commander, where the community runs the ban list. Next up, we've got Golos Tireless Pilgrim, a 5-cost 3/5. And he says, when he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card, put that land card in the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library, always nice. And then if you pay 7 total mana with 5 of them being one of each color, exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn without paying their mana cost. So it is and isn't free casting. I saw this initially and I said, well, this won't be a problem. And then people started pulling it off in standard. I'm like, well, this is a problem because it was fairly easy to get to 7 and fairly easy to fix that level of mana. That was the problem. So I think this guy was banned in Brawl, and then I thought they like unbanned him or something too. I don't know what was going on there, but just really this card should have been printed because it's like, you can call it free casting, but if it costs 7, like what are you even pulling? Probably like a land and 2 spells that don't add up to 7. So it was glorified color fixing, except people were dropping in some seriously big stuff. So they were getting the value out of it, but it's like, well, I don't care. Like, if you have a free casting card that costs 3 mana, it's going to be a bigger problem than, oh, you have to get to 7 first. Except, like I said, people were doing it, and they were doing it in hyper control decks, which was not fun. But that was standard. So I thought, is this even close to the bar of appropriate power for Commander? Like, full-blown Eternal Format Commander? And, well, let's just read what they have to say. So Golos Tireless Pilgrim has been a much-discussed card that is both popular to play with and unpopular to play against. Well said. There are many problems with the card, but the greatest is that in the low to mid tiers where we focus the ban list, Golos is a simply better choice of leader for all but the most commander-centric decks. And see, that's the problem, is that he can be your commander. Then you get a Swiss Army 5-color run anything, free casting bomb deck that probably has like free draw and everything. I've heard rumors. But then you like always have access to him, and you'll probably be up into the 10, 15, 20 mana range, because you're just dumping mana, and you're spending like 1 land to go get 2, and all that kind of stuff. All those like cultivate and double drop, green effects and all that, and fixing, probably run the world tree, you could imagine. Well, then Rainbow Bridge is obviously mainboarded, aka the free casting stupid Kaldheim card. So then you bring out Golos for 5, then 7, then 9 because you have it, and you just keep free casting. And there is some nasty stuff like Phyrexian Obliterator and stuff that you don't want to allow somebody to free cast. So people, if he shows up as the commander of their deck, people just won't even play against them. So they might as well just get rid of him. Now, if he's just a card in your deck, he is a fetchable card pretty easily because he's an artifact and a creature. So did they ban him only as a commander? No, they did not. And I think, why not? If you're already going to have to get rid of them, just pull the trigger. There are literally over 50,000 other cards you can choose from. My God, just like Wizards is always so damn conservative when they do their ban announcements. They're like, we're unbanning this. I'm like, okay, well, there's like 10,000 to 15,000 other cards in Modern that you could play with, and like 1,000 other viable decks you could play with. Why do we need to bring one back when we knew it was problematic? Why do we need to bring that back? Just because people own the cards and maybe didn't sell off the deck and we're waiting for the unban? Like, you're saving them like a couple dollars. They already moved on. They already rebuilt it. So it's really just rewarding speculators, and you got to wonder what's going on there. Because every time that people know a ban or unban announcement is coming, they like buy up all the ban crap in every format, and then they lose their money every time, except for like 5% of the time. I mean, I know people who own like play sets of every single card on the Modern ban list. But the Commander Commission this time was just like, you know what? Screw him. He's gone. So I can respect that, even though they are a bunch of crooked inside trading, allegedly self-serving assholes. This ban announcement had nothing to do with that. Just, I'm talking about the past. But they've had the light shined on them like all the way up their ass. So, I mean, they can't even blink without people scrutinizing, what happened to their bank account and who ordered what from where. So they went on to say its presence crushes the kind of diversity in Commander choice, which we want to promote. Yeah, you don't want everybody just running Ugin like Brawl. You can drop in Golos and a few 5-color lands into a random deck and get all the ramp and card advantage you would ever want from a commander. Now, that's the other thing. Just because he's 5-color doesn't mean you have to run 5-color. You could be running a 2-color deck and then just, fetch a couple lands, couple land fetch, play mostly green, or play a bunch of mana fixing, play a bunch of all your lands can tap for anything. You throw a couple of those in, and then just a bunch of big boys, or just, whatever you're running normally, and just, 3 cards at a time, 3 cards at a time, 3 cards at a time. And that's the problem with Kenrith right now in Brawl, is he is 5-color, but I run him in a 2-color and 2 different 3-color decks, because why wouldn't I? And then I just activate those abilities, and that's in Brawl, of course, in case I didn't mention it. So everybody just by default goes Kenrith because who's better? Like, what would you get better than those recurring abilities, depending upon the colors that you intend to play, because some of his abilities are crap. But if I could just sit there and gain 10 life every turn, you're not going to kill me. So it's like, he really should be banned. So this is like the same thing. It's just, you could be running mono green and you can run Golos. With a little bit of fixing and a couple, like, evolving wilds and fableds into the, lands you actually need, or a little bit of filtering and whatever, or universal mana rocks or whatever, you're good. You can just run them. So the fact that it's like, well, my commander that I chose isn't even better, so I'm just going to run Golos. That should not be a thing. So I 100% agree with this. So Golos' ability effectively reduces the commander tax to 1. I didn't initially get that, but it clicked after about 10 seconds. When he enters the battlefield, you go get a land. So there's half of the commander tax of his cost going up by 2 every time. I thought they meant there was a way to drop him in for 1. I'm like, well, okay, that would be bad. He is an artifact. There probably is a way to do it. Well, then they say once you hit 7 mana, which you will, and he'll help go get the individual lands that you need, but hopefully it wouldn't take dropping him in 5 times to do it. That seems to be what they're implying. I don't think most people play it that way. I should say 4 times if you're running a mono, because you need the other 4, but no, the same thing. But they said, and I quote, "You don't need to do anything for the rest of the game except cast spells for free. Something we always want to be careful about. Putting them leaps and bounds ahead of anybody who works at Wizards of the Coast, who loves free casting and thinks it's great." Then they said something, I don't know what anything in this sentence means, but okay. "We've talked to the folks in Studio X, and they understand the problems created by generically powered 5-color commanders that don't have 5-color in their mana cost." I don't know who Studio X is, but are they referencing the fact that you can reduce the cost of creatures and you can reduce the casting cost of artifacts with like probably 50 different cards? And he's both, and he doesn't have a true cost, because remember, if you say reduce it by 2, it's reduce it by 2 generic. So if something costs 7, but 5 of it is red, okay, you can only reduce it by, the 2 generic, but if you had like stacking effects, you couldn't get into the colored mana. Although there are ones that say, like, reduce all spells by 1 red or whatever. I've seen it. But usually spell reduction, especially in artifacts, obviously, is reduce it by 1 or 2 or 3 generic. So I guess what they're saying there is that's also problematic, which is what I suspected. I seriously don't know who Studio X is. Is that, like, their nickname for wizards or something? But they say, "We don't expect similar cards to come from them in the future." Okay, if it is Wizards of the Coast they're referring to, they absolutely should expect this and more to come from them, because they keep ruining Commander and printing free casting bullshit. I mean, like, look at Aetherworks Marvel. Do you think anything's going to stop them? Do you think they learned from that ban? They didn't learn shit. They came off the heels of that and printed Golos. Like, they are incapable of learning. We understand that many players love Golos, but those people are inconsiderate assholes. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. It says, comma. So we don't take this action lightly. In the end, the health of the format is our primary concern, and we find Golos unhealthy. While Kenrith, the Return King, oh my god, they actually mentioned him. I never read these at a time, but that's right where my brain went. While Kenrith, the Return King, is a similarly flexible and popular commander for good stuff 5-color decks, we see it as a clear step down from Golos. Yeah, he doesn't free cast, and if you look at his 5 abilities, one is tagged to each color. They're not that good in the commander context. Like, if you look at the most powerful, popular commanders, you're like, okay, that is a step above Kenrith. I mean, come on. And remember, it's pay 1 red, all creatures gain trample and haste until end of turn, and then pay 2, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Oh, that's the green one. So I mean, one counter on one creature, like that's pretty good in standard. It's not very good in commander. The white one is a total 3 cost single white. Target player gains 5 life. Okay, kind of fun in multiplayer actually. And then blue plus 3, so the 4 cost one with blue is target player draws a card, which, you know, okay. And then you get the black one, which is 5, put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control. But I mean, it's 5. By the way, if somebody has Phage in their graveyard, you can resurrect it on their side and they lose the game instantly. But yeah, I agree with the ban and the unban. I think it's moving the game in a, you know, good direction. Both these are well supported. Their takes and as usual, when they do something that like actually serves the community instead of their wallet, they back it up with like evidence and like true statements. They're not trying to gaslight us and be like, oh no, this is really the problem, like Wizards does, and then, you know, later just ban the actual dredge card or the actual free casting at the Works Marvel. Now, they keep it real here, and they know the game better than anybody who works at Wizards, so I can respect that, except I can't because they're a bunch of insider trading assholes, allegedly. So it is what it is, but that's the ban announcement for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. I might be live streaming later today, and I'll see you guys next time.